Jake Martinez wiped the sweat from his forehead as he climbed down from the water recycling unit. Another day, another broken machine on New Haven Colony. He had been fixing things here for 2 years now, and the work never seemed to end. The colony was always growing, always needing repairs. He grabbed his tool bag and walked back toward the residential section. The sun was setting, painting the sky purple and orange. It was beautiful, but Jake barely noticed anymore. He was thinking about dinner and maybe watching some old Earth movies. His apartment was in Building C, 3rd floor. He shared it with Zara, an alien from a species called the Villani. The colony government had set up this roommate program 8 months ago. They said it would help humans and aliens understand each other better. Jake had agreed because it meant cheaper rent. When he opened the door, the apartment was quiet. Too quiet. Usually Zara would be in the kitchen making her strange but tasty alien food. Or she would be at the table, reading something on her tablet and humming those odd little songs her people liked. "Zara," Jake called out. No answer. He walked through the small living room. Their apartment was simple but comfortable. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, a kitchen, and a living area with a couch and a view screen. Jake had put up some pictures from Earth on the walls. Zara had added a few items from her homeworld too. A crystal that changed colors with the weather. Some books written in her language. A plant that smelled like cinnamon. Jake found her in her room. The door was open, which was unusual. Zara always kept her door closed when she was inside. She was sitting on her bed staring at the wall. Her silver-tinted skin seemed darker than usual, almost gray. "Hey, you okay?" Jake asked. Zara turned to look at him. Her eyes were different. Usually they were a soft blue color like Earth's sky. Now they were darker, almost violet. She blinked slowly as if she was having trouble focusing. "I am fine," she said, but her voice sounded strange. Rougher somehow. Jake stepped closer. "You sure? You look sick." "I am not sick." Zara stood, up quickly, too quickly. She swayed a little, then caught herself. "I am just tired." Jake knew Zara well enough to know when she was lying. They had been roommates for 8 months. They ate meals together, watched movies together, and talked about their work. Jake fixed machines, and Zara worked as a translator for the colony's communication center. She helped when humans and aliens had trouble understanding each other. In all that time, Jake had never seen Zara act like this. "Did something happen at work?" he asked. Zara shook her head. "Work was normal. Please, Jake, I just need to rest." She sat back down on her bed and turned away from him. Jake wanted to ask more questions, but he could tell she wanted to be alone. Zara was usually very open about her feelings. If she was being secretive, something was definitely wrong. Jake went to his own room and changed out of his work clothes. He made himself a simple dinner and ate alone. The apartment felt too quiet without Zara's humming and the sounds of her moving around the kitchen. Later that evening, Jake was watching an old Earth movie when he heard a noise from Zara's room. It sounded like furniture being moved around. Then he heard scratching sounds like fingernails on wood. He knocked on her door. "Zara? What are you doing in there?" The sounds stopped. "Nothing," came her voice. "Just organizing." Jake went back to his movie, but he could not concentrate. More sounds came from Zara's room throughout the night. Moving furniture, scratching, and sometimes a low humming sound he had never heard before. The next morning, Zara was already gone when Jake woke up. She usually waited for him so they could walk to work together. Her breakfast dishes were in the sink, but something was odd. There were scratch marks on the table, deep ones as if made by very sharp claws. Jake ran his finger over the scratches. They were real. But Zara's fingernails were not that long or that sharp. How had she made these marks? He was still thinking about it when his work tablet beeped. A message from Lisa Parker, one of the colony administrators. She wanted to meet him for lunch at the Central Plaza. Lisa was waiting for him at their usual spot, a small cafe that served both human and alien food. She looked worried. "Jake, we need to talk," she said before he could even sit down. "What's wrong?" Lisa looked around to make sure no one was listening. It's about the roommate program. Some people are saying it's not working. What do you mean? There have been incidents, problems between human and alien roommates. The council is thinking about ending the program. Jake felt a strange panic in his chest. What kind of problems? Fights. Cultural misunderstandings. Some humans are saying the aliens are too different, that we can't really live together. Lisa paused. How are things with Zara? Jake thought about the scratches on his table and Zara's strange behavior. Fine, he lied. Everything's fine. Lisa studied his face. You sure? Because if there are any issues, any at all, you need to report them. The council is looking for reasons to shut down the program. After lunch, Jake walked back to work, but he could not focus on his repairs. He kept thinking about Zara. She had been acting strange, yes, but she was not dangerous. She was kind and thoughtful. She helped him with his Earth history homework. She made him laugh with stories about her homeworld. She was his friend, but friends did not make deep scratches in wooden tables with their fingernails. That evening, Jake came home to find Zara in the kitchen. She was cooking something that smelled amazing, like spices and flowers. She smiled when she saw him, but her eyes still had that dark violet color. I made dinner, she said. Your favorite. It was his favorite, a dish she had taught him from her world. But her hands were shaking as she served it, and Jake noticed more scratches on the kitchen counter. They ate in silence. Zara kept glancing at him, then looking away quickly. The air felt thick and strange, like before a thunderstorm. Zara, Jake said finally, if something was wrong, you would tell me, right? She set down her fork and looked at him directly. For a moment, her eyes seemed to glow in the dim light. Jake, she said softly, some things are not easy to explain. Before he could ask what she meant, she stood up and went to her room. Jake heard her door close and lock. Later that night, Jake woke up to hear Zara moving around the apartment. He looked at his clock. It was 3 a.m. He got up quietly and opened his door just a crack. Zara was in the living room, but she was not walking normally. She was moving in a strange way, almost like she was dancing. Her skin seemed to glow faintly in the darkness. She was making that low humming sound again, but now it sounded almost like singing. Jake watched, fascinated and a little scared. This was not the Zara he knew. This was someone, or something, else entirely. As he watched, Zara suddenly stopped, moving and turned toward his door. Even in the darkness, he could see her eyes clearly. They were definitely glowing now, bright violet in her silver face. She looked right at him, even though he was sure she could not see him through the crack in the door. Jake, she whispered, and her voice carried across the room like it was right, next to his ear. I am sorry. I cannot stop what is happening to me. Then she walked to her room and closed the door. Jake stood there for a long time, his heart racing. Whatever was happening to Zara, it was just beginning. Jake could not sleep after what he saw. He lay in his bed staring at the ceiling, thinking about Zara's glowing eyes and strange behavior. When morning came, he was tired, but determined to find answers. Zara was gone again when he got up. This was becoming a pattern. Jake made coffee and noticed more scratches on the kitchen cabinets. These were deeper than the ones from yesterday. Whatever was happening to Zara, it was getting worse. At work, Jake could not focus on fixing the broken air filters. His mind kept going back to his roommate. He decided to do something he had never done before. He looked up information about Villani biology. The colony's computer system had basic files about all the alien species living on New Haven. Jake read about Villani culture, their food, their language, their customs. Most of it he already knew, from living with Zara. But then he found something interesting. Every 7 years, Villani went through something called the convergence. The file did not explain much about it, just that it was a natural biological cycle. For more details, it said to contact Dr. Amy Foster, the colony's xenobiologist. Jake had never met Dr. Foster, but he knew where her lab was. During his lunch break, he walked across the colony to the research center. The building was newer than most, with clean white walls and the smell of chemicals in the air. Dr. Foster was a small woman with gray hair and kind eyes. When Jake explained why he was there, her expression became serious. "You said your roommate is Villani," she asked. "What's her name?" "Zara. She's been acting strange for the past few days. I found something about the convergence in the computer files." Dr. Foster was quiet for a long moment. Then she gestured for Jake to sit down. "Mr. Martinez, what I'm about to tell you is not widely known. The convergence is the Villani mating season. It happens every 7 years and lasts for about a month." Jake felt his face get hot. Mating season? During this time, Villani become focused on finding a compatible partner. Their behavior changes dramatically. They become more aggressive, more territorial. Their senses become stronger. Their emotions become more intense. "Is Zara dangerous?" Dr. Foster shook her head. "Not dangerous, but unpredictable. The bigger problem is that once a Villani chooses a potential mate during the convergence, they form a very strong bond with that person. It's not something they can easily control." Jake thought about Zara staring at him through the darkness, her glowing eyes and whispered apology. "How do they choose?" "Usually, it's someone they've spent a lot of time with. Someone they trust and feel comfortable around." Dr. Foster looked at Jake carefully. "Someone like a roommate." Jake's stomach dropped. "You think Zara has chosen me? The territorial behavior, the changes in her appearance, the way she's been acting around you? Yes, I think it's very likely. But I'm human. She's alien. That's not possible." Dr. Foster leaned forward. "Jake, there's something else you need to know. This situation has happened before. There have been other cases of Villani choosing human partners during the convergence. The colonial government has been keeping it quiet. Why? Because it creates complications, political ones. Some humans think any close relationship between our species is wrong. Some alien groups feel the same way. If word gets out that Villani can form romantic bonds with humans, it could cause serious problems for the colony." Jake left Dr. Foster's lab feeling confused and worried. He walked back to work slowly, trying to process what he had learned. Zara was going through some kind of biological change that made her see him as a potential mate. And apparently this was such a big deal that the government was keeping it secret. That evening, Jake came home expecting to find Zara gone as usual. Instead, she was sitting on the couch, waiting for him. She looked more like her normal self, but there was still something different about her eyes. "We need to talk," she said. Jake sat down across from her, keeping some distance between them. "Okay. I know you have noticed changes in me. I know you are confused," Dr. Foster explained. "About the convergence." Zara's eyes widened. "You went to the human doctor?" "I was worried about you. I didn't know what was happening." Zara stood up and started pacing. "What did she tell you?" "That you're going through a mating season, that Villani sometimes choose humans as partners." Zara stopped pacing and looked at him. "And what do you think about this?" Jake was quiet for a moment. "I think it explains a lot. The scratches on the furniture, the way you've been acting, your eyes changing color. I have been trying to fight it," Zara said softly. "I do not want to put you in an uncomfortable position. But my body, my instincts, they are very strong right now." "Have you really chosen me?" Jake asked. Zara sat back down, but closer to him this time. "Yes. I did not plan for this to happen. I have been attracted to you for months, but I thought those feelings were just friendship. During the convergence, everything becomes clearer, more intense." Jake felt something strange in his chest. Not fear exactly, but not comfort either. "What does that mean for us?" "I do not know. In my culture, when someone is chosen during the convergence, both people must agree to bond. If they do, the connection becomes permanent. If they do not, the choosing person must find someone else or wait 7 more years. And if you can't find someone else?" Zara looked down at her hands. "Then I will be very sick for a long time." Some Villani die from rejected bonding. Jake stared at her. That's not fair. You didn't choose to feel this way. Biology is rarely fair, Zara said with a sad smile. They sat in silence for a while. Jake found himself really looking at Zara for the first time in months. She was beautiful, in her own alien way. Her silver skin seemed to glow softly in the lamplight. Her dark hair fell in waves around her shoulders. Her eyes, even with their new violet color, were kind and intelligent. What would bonding mean? He asked. It would mean we are partners, in everything. Villani bonds are not just romantic. They are emotional, mental, sometimes even physical. We would share dreams, feelings, thoughts. We would know when the other is in danger or in pain. That sounds intense. It is. That is why both people must agree. It changes everything. Jake's tablet beeped. A message from Lisa Parker. She wanted to meet him tomorrow morning before work. Something about the roommate program. Jake, Zara said, noticing his expression. Is there a problem? He told her about his conversation with Lisa, about how some people wanted to end the roommate program. Zara listened quietly. If they end the program, we will not be allowed to live together anymore, she said. Probably not. That would be very bad timing, Zara said with dark humor. Being separated during the convergence would make everything worse. That night, Jake lay in his bed thinking about everything Zara had told him. He could hear her moving around in her room, but the sounds were different now. Less frantic, more purposeful. Occasionally, he heard that humming sound, but now he knew it was probably some kind of Villani song. Around midnight, he heard his door open quietly. Zara stood in the doorway, silhouetted against the light from the hallway. Jake, are you awake? Yes. May I sit with you? I promise I will not do anything inappropriate. I feel calmer when I am near you. Jake moved over in his bed. Zara sat down beside him, careful to keep some space between them. But even with that distance, Jake could feel warmth radiating from her skin. She smelled like cinnamon and something else he could not identify. Are you afraid of me? She asked. No, Jake said, and realized it was true. I'm confused but not afraid. I am afraid, Zara admitted. I am afraid of losing control. I am afraid of making you uncomfortable. I am afraid of what will happen if the colony finds out about us. What? Do you mean finds out about us? We haven't done anything. But I have chosen you. Other Villani will be able to sense it. They will know. Zara turned to look at him. Jake, there is something else Dr. Foster probably did not tell you. When a Villani chooses someone, it affects that person too. You will start to change. Change. How? Physically. Mentally. The bond works both ways. Even if you do not agree to it, being chosen will alter you. Jake felt a chill run down his spine. What kind of changes? Your senses will become stronger. You will heal faster. You will become more aware of my emotions and location. It starts slowly, but it gets stronger over time. And you didn't think to mention this before? I was hoping I could fight the choosing. I was hoping it would not affect you. Jake thought about the past few days. Had his hearing been sharper? Had colors seemed brighter? He had attributed it to stress, but maybe it was something else. How long do I have to decide about bonding? He asked. The convergence lasts 4 weeks. After that, if we have not bonded, the choosing will fade. But the changes in you might not. Zara stood up to leave, but Jake caught her hand. Her skin was warm and incredibly soft. Stay, he said. Just for tonight. I think better when you're here. Zara smiled, and for the first time in days it looked like her normal, happy expression. Thank you, Jake. She lay down beside him, keeping a careful distance. But as the night went on, Jake found himself moving closer to her warmth. And when he finally fell asleep, his dreams were full of violet eyes and the sound of alien songs. Jake woke up with Zara's arm across his chest. For a moment he forgot about everything that had happened. and just enjoyed the feeling of her warm body next to his. Then reality came flooding back. Zara was already awake, watching him with those violet eyes. "Good morning," she said softly. "Morning." Jake could smell her hair, that cinnamon scent mixed with something uniquely Zara. "How do you feel?" "Better. Calmer. Being close to you helps." She paused. "How do you feel?" Jake took inventory of his body. Everything seemed normal, except he could hear things more clearly than usual. The birds outside the window sounded louder. The hum of the air recycling unit seemed more distinct. "Different," he admitted. Zara's expression became worried. "I am sorry. I should not have asked to stay." "I'm glad you did." The words came out before Jake could stop them. Zara's eyes brightened. They got dressed and ate breakfast together. Jake noticed that he could taste his coffee more intensely than before. The flavors were stronger, more complex. When Zara moved around the kitchen, he found himself tracking her location without looking, as if he could sense where she was. "Jake," Zara said as they prepared to leave for work, "you are meeting with Lisa this morning?" "Yeah. She wants to talk about the roommate program. Please be careful what you tell her. If the government learns about my convergence, they might separate us immediately." "I won't say anything that could hurt you." Zara smiled and touched his hand briefly. The contact sent a small electric feeling up his arm. Lisa was waiting for Jake at the colony's administrative building. She looked tired and stressed. "Thanks for meeting me," she said, leading him to a small conference room. "We need to discuss your living situation." "What about it?" "The council met yesterday. There have been too many problems with the roommate program. Fights, cultural conflicts, a few cases of humans and aliens becoming too attached." Jake kept his face neutral. "Attached how?" "Romantically involved. The council thinks it's inappropriate and potentially dangerous. Different species shouldn't form those kinds of bonds." "Why not? If they care about each other?" Lisa looked at him sharply. "Jake, are you having feelings for your roommate?" "We're friends. Good friends." "That's not what I asked." Jake met her eyes. "My relationship with Zara is nobody's business but ours." Lisa leaned back in her chair. "I was afraid of this, Jake. You need to understand something. There are people in the government, both human and alien, who see interspecies relationships as a threat. They think it could lead to problems we can't predict." "What kind of problems?" "Children, for one thing. What if humans and aliens can have offspring together? What if those children have abilities neither species can control? What if romantic bonds between species create political complications?" Jake thought about what Zara had told him about the bonding process. Sharing thoughts and emotions sounded intense, but not dangerous. "So what are you saying?" "The council is ending the roommate program in 2 weeks. All human-alien pairs will be separated and moved to different housing." Jake felt panic rise in his chest. "You can't do that." "We can, and we are. It's for everyone's safety." After the meeting, Jake walked to work in a daze. 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, he would be separated from Zara right in the middle of her convergence. According to what she had told him, that could make her seriously ill or even kill her. At work, Jake tried to focus on repairing a broken water pump, but his hands were shaking. Every sound seemed too loud. Every smell was too strong. The changes Zara had warned him about were definitely happening. During lunch, he went back to Dr. Foster's lab. "Jake, you look terrible," she said when she saw him. "What's wrong?" He told her about the council's decision to end the roommate program. Dr. Foster's face went pale. "That's the worst possible timing. Separating bonded pairs during the convergence could have serious consequences." "Bonded pairs? But we haven't bonded yet." "The choosing process creates a preliminary bond. It's not as strong as full bonding, but it's still significant." Dr. Foster sat down heavily. "Jake, I need to tell you something. I've been studying human Villani compatibility for 3 years. You and Zara aren't the first case I've seen." "What do you mean?" There have been 7 other cases of Villani choosing human partners during the convergence. In every case, the government separated them before bonding could occur. What happened to them? Dr. Foster looked uncomfortable. The humans experienced ongoing physical and emotional problems, heightened senses that never returned to normal, difficulty sleeping, depression. The Villani, she paused. 3 of them died. The others were sent back to their homeworld in poor health. Jake felt sick. The government knows this, and they're still separating couples. They think it's worth the risk to prevent interspecies bonding. They're afraid of what might happen if humans and Villani form permanent connections. What would happen? I don't know for certain. My research suggests that fully bonded human-Villani pairs might have enhanced abilities, better health, longer lifespans, increased intelligence. But the government sees that as a threat rather than a benefit. That evening, Jake came home to find Zara cooking dinner. She looked up when he entered, and he saw that her eyes had become even more violet. "How was your day?" she asked. But Jake could tell she already sensed something was wrong. He told her about the council's decision. Zara stopped stirring the food and gripped the counter with both hands. 2 weeks, she said quietly. "We'll figure something out." "Jake, you do not understand. If we are separated during the convergence, it will not just make me sick. It will damage both of us permanently. Dr. Foster told me. She said there have been other cases." Zara turned to face him. "What did she tell you? About the other cases?" Jake hesitated, then told her everything Dr. Foster had shared. Zara listened in silence, her expression growing more and more pained. "I did not know," she said finally. "I thought I was the first Villani to choose a human. I thought we could find a way to make this work without anyone getting hurt. Maybe we still can." "How?" Jake moved closer to her. "What if we complete the bonding before they separate us?" Zara's eyes widened. "Jake, you cannot make that decision lightly. Bonding is permanent. It cannot be undone. And if we don't bond, we'll both suffer for the rest of our lives. That doesn't sound like much of a choice. But you would be tied to me forever. You would share my thoughts, my emotions, my dreams. You would never be able to love someone else the way humans usually do." Jake reached out and took her hands. They were trembling. "Zara, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be completely honest. If you weren't going through the convergence, if this was just a normal time, would you still have feelings for me?" Zara looked into his eyes. "Yes. I have had feelings for you for months. I just did not think you could ever return them. And I need to tell you something. Even before all this started, I was attracted to you. I told myself it was just friendship, but it was more than that." "Really? Really? So maybe the convergence didn't create these feelings. Maybe it just made them impossible to ignore." Zara stepped closer to him. Jake could feel heat radiating from her skin. "If we bond," she said softly, "everything will change. We will be connected in ways humans do not usually experience. Are you ready for that?" Jake thought about his life before Zara. Lonely evenings, simple routines, no one to share his thoughts and feelings with. Then he thought about the past 8 months, coming home to Zara's cooking and her stories, watching movies together and laughing at the same jokes, feeling like he had found someone who truly understood him. "I'm ready," he said. Zara smiled, and for the first time since the convergence began, she looked completely like herself again. "Then we should not wait," she said. "The bonding process takes several days to complete. If we start tonight, we might finish before they separate us." "What do we need to do?" "First, we need to be honest with each other about everything. No secrets, no hidden thoughts or feelings. Then we begin the physical bonding." "Physical bonding?" Zara blushed, her silver skin taking on a pinkish tint. "It involves intimate contact. Not just sexual, though, that is part of it. We must share our breath, our heartbeats, our very essence." Jake felt his own face get warm. "Okay. Are you sure? Once we start, we cannot stop without causing serious harm to both of us." Jake looked at Zara, really looked at her. Her beautiful violet eyes, her silver skin that seemed to glow in the lamplight, her graceful movements, her kind smile. This was the person he wanted to share his life with, human or alien. "I'm sure," he said. Zara moved closer and placed her hands on his chest. Jake could feel his heartbeat speed up. "Then let us begin," she whispered. She leaned forward and touched her forehead to his. Immediately, Jake felt something electric pass between them, not just physical attraction, but something deeper. He could sense her emotions, her nervousness mixed with joy and hope. "Can you feel that?" Zara asked. "Yes." "That is the beginning. Tomorrow we will go deeper." That night they slept in the same bed, holding each other close. Jake dreamed of violet skies and silver forests, and when he woke, he knew the dreams had been Zara's memories of her homeworld. The bonding had begun. Jake woke up feeling different, more different than the day before. He could sense Zara's presence even with his eyes closed, could feel her calm breathing and steady heartbeat as if they were his own. "Good morning," Zara said without opening her eyes. "How do you feel?" "Connected," Jake said. "I can feel what you're feeling. The bond is forming. By tonight we will be halfway completed." They got ready for what might be their last normal day of work. Jake noticed that his reflection looked slightly different. His eyes seemed brighter. His skin had a subtle, healthy glow that hadn't been there before. "The changes are starting to show," Zara observed, watching him in the mirror. "Is that bad?" "It means people will start to notice. We must be careful." At work, Jake had trouble concentrating. He could sense Zara's emotions throughout the day, her worry when she dealt with a difficult translation job, her happiness when she thought about him. It was distracting but also comforting to know she was always there in the back of his mind. During lunch, Jake's supervisor, Ben Cooper, pulled him aside. "Jake, you feeling okay? You seem different today." "Just tired," Jake said. Ben looked at him carefully. "Your eyes look brighter or something. And you fixed that air filter this morning faster than I've ever seen you work." Jake realized his enhanced senses were making him more efficient at his job. He could hear problems with machines before they became visible, could smell chemical leaks that others missed. Just having a good day, I guess. That afternoon, Jake got an urgent message on his tablet. Lisa Parker wanted to see him immediately. Jake's stomach clenched as he walked to the administrative building. Lisa was waiting with Commander Blake Harris, the military liaison who oversaw human-alien relations. Harris was a stern man in his 50s with gray hair and suspicious eyes. "Jake, sit down," Lisa said. "We need to ask you some questions." "About what?" Commander Harris leaned forward. "About your roommate. We've had reports that she's been acting strangely. Territorial behavior, aggressive marking of your shared living space." Jake's heart started racing. Someone had been watching. Their apartment. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Jake," Lisa said gently, "we know about the convergence. We know what happens when Villani go through their mating season. Dr. Foster told us you visited her lab," Harris added. "She was required to report any inquiries about Villani biology." Jake felt betrayed. Dr. Foster had seemed sympathetic, but she had been reporting to the government all along. "Zara is sick," Jake said. "She's going through a biological process. She can't control, she's not dangerous." "Has she chosen you as a mate?" Harris asked bluntly. Jake hesitated a moment too long. "I thought so," Harris said. "Mr. Martinez, you're in serious danger. When a Villani chooses a human during the convergence, it starts a bonding process that can permanently alter both parties. We need to separate you from her immediately." "No. This isn't a request. It's for your own safety and the safety of the colony." Lisa looked uncomfortable. "Jake, I know this is hard, but there are larger issues at stake here. If humans and aliens start bonding permanently, it could create political problems we can't handle." "What kind of problems?" Harris stood up. "The kind that could destroy the alliance between Earth and the alien homeworlds. Some alien species see human-alien bonding as contamination. Some humans see it as betrayal of our species. If we allow it to continue, it could lead to war." "That's crazy," We're talking about two people caring about each other. We're talking about biological processes that could create hybrid offspring with unknown abilities, Harris said. We're talking about humans who might become more loyal to their alien partners than to their own species. We're talking about the end of human independence. Jake felt anger rising in his chest, but it wasn't just his anger. Through the bond, he could sense Zara's fear and fury. Something had happened to her. Where is she? Jake demanded, standing up quickly. She's being held in the medical facility for her own protection, Harris said. Let me see her. I'm afraid that's not possible. Contact between you two will only make the bonding process stronger. We need to keep you separated until the convergence ends. Jake started toward the door, but two security guards stepped in front of him. Mr. Martinez, Harris said. You're being relocated to a secure facility where you can receive treatment for the bonding effects. It's for your own good. This is kidnapping. This is necessary for colonial security. As the guards escorted Jake from the building, he could feel Zara's terror and pain through their incomplete bond. She was scared and alone, and there was nothing he could do to help her. They took him to a medical building on the other side of the colony. Dr. Foster was waiting in a sterile white room with medical equipment and monitoring devices. Jake, I'm sorry about this, she said, but the commander is right. The bonding process needs to be stopped before it goes too far. You betrayed us. I trusted you. I was trying to help. I hoped if I reported your situation to the authorities, they might make an exception in your case. Instead, they decided to use you and Zara as an example. An example of what? Of why the roommate program needs to end permanently. They're going to announce that human-alien bonding is dangerous and forbidden. Your case will be their proof. Dr. Foster connected monitoring devices to Jake's arms and chest. Through the bond, he could feel that Zara was undergoing similar treatment somewhere else in the building. What are you doing to us? Medical intervention. We're going to use electromagnetic fields to disrupt the bonding process. It will be painful, but it should prevent permanent connection. And if we refuse? You don't have a choice. The next few hours were torture. The electromagnetic field felt like electricity running through Jake's entire body. Worse than the physical pain was the emotional agony of feeling his connection to Zara being torn apart piece by piece. Through the weakening bond, he could sense her pain and fear. She was calling out for him, but her voice in his mind was getting fainter and fainter. Late that night, when the medical staff thought he was sleeping, Jake overheard Dr. Foster talking to Commander Harris in the hallway. The disruption process isn't working as well as we hoped, Dr. Foster was saying. Their bond is stronger than any we've seen before. We may need to use more extreme measures. What kind of measures? Memory suppression. If we can't break the bond, we can make them forget each other. Will that work? In theory. But there are risks. Memory suppression can cause permanent brain damage. The risk is acceptable. The colonial government has decided that successful human-alien bonding cannot be allowed under any circumstances. Jake felt sick. They were willing to destroy his mind rather than let him be with Zara. Around midnight, the guards changed shifts. The new guard was younger and less experienced. Jake pretended to be asleep while testing his restraints. The bonding process had made him stronger, and the electromagnetic disruption had been turned off for the night to let his body rest. With effort, Jake broke free from the medical restraints. His enhanced hearing told him exactly where the guard was positioned, and his improved reflexes let him move silently across the room. He slipped out of his room and moved through the medical facility. Through the weakening bond, he could sense Zara's location. She was 2 floors up in a room similar to his. Jake avoided the security cameras and guards, using abilities he didn't fully understand yet. His body seemed to know instinctively how to move without being detected. He found Zara strapped to a medical bed, unconscious from sedatives. Her silver skin was pale, almost gray, and she looked weak and sick. "Zara," he whispered, shaking her gently. She opened her eyes slowly. When she saw him, she smiled weakly. "Jake, I thought I had lost you." "Never." "Can you walk?" "I think so." Jake helped her stand and removed her medical restraints. Even through the disrupted bond, touching her made him feel stronger and more complete. "We need to get out of here," he said. "They're planning to erase our memories. Where can we go? They control the entire colony." "I don't know, but we'll figure it out together." As they moved through the medical facility, alarms suddenly started blaring. Red lights flashed in the hallways. "They found us," Zara said. Jake could hear footsteps and voices throughout the building. Security guards were searching every room. "This way," Jake said, leading Zara toward a maintenance corridor he had spotted earlier. They crawled through the tight space, following air ducts and service tunnels. Jake's enhanced senses guided them through the building's infrastructure toward an exit. Behind them, they could hear Commander Harris shouting orders to the search teams. "Find them. They cannot be allowed to leave the facility." Jake and Zara emerged from a maintenance hatch behind the medical building. The colony's night air felt cool and clean after the sterile environment inside. "What do we do now?" Zara asked. Jake looked around at the colony lights and the alien constellations in the sky above. Somewhere out there were people who wanted to help them, and people who wanted to destroy them. The challenge was figuring out which was which. "Now, we run," Jake said, "and we finish what we started." Taking Zara's hand, Jake led her into the darkness beyond the colony's edge. Behind them, searchlights began sweeping the area, and the sound of vehicles starting up echoed through the night. The hunt had begun. Jake and Zara ran through the wilderness beyond the colony for 3 days. They hid during the day and traveled at night, using Jake's enhanced senses to avoid the search teams. The partial bond between them grew stronger despite the electromagnetic disruption they had endured. On the 3rd night, they encountered someone unexpected. Lisa Parker was waiting for them at an abandoned mining station, but she wasn't alone. Dr. Foster was with her, along with 2 other humans Jake didn't recognize. "It's okay," Lisa called out as Jake tensed, ready to run. "We're here to help." "Why should we trust you?" Jake asked. "You're the ones who turned us over to Harris." "Because I was wrong," Lisa said. "And because there are things you need to know about what's really happening on this colony." Dr. Foster stepped forward. "Jake, I'm sorry for betraying your trust, but I had to maintain my cover to gather information about the government's real plans." "What are you talking about?" One of the strangers, a middle-aged man with kind eyes, spoke up. "My name is Dan Rivers. I'm a colony administrator, but I'm also part of a group that believes in peaceful coexistence between humans and aliens. We've been investigating the government's policies regarding interspecies relationships." The other stranger, a young woman, added, "I'm Kate Mills. I work in colony communications. We've discovered that the government has been deliberately preventing human-alien bonding for years, but not for the reasons they claim." Lisa gestured for everyone to sit down inside the abandoned station. "Jake, Zara, what we're about to tell, you will change everything you think you know about this colony." Dr. Foster pulled out a data tablet. 3 years ago, I was contacted by the Villani government. They had been monitoring human-Villani interactions and had discovered something remarkable. When humans and Villani form permanent bonds, both species gain significant advantages. "What kind of advantages?" Zara asked. "Enhanced physical abilities, longer lifespans, increased intelligence, and something even more important, bonded pairs can survive in environments that would kill either species individually." Dan Rivers nodded. "The colonial government has known this for years. They've also known that there are unexplored regions of space that could only be colonized by bonded human-alien pairs. So why are they trying to stop bonding?" Jake asked. Kate Mills answered, "Because they're not the only ones who know. There's another group, a coalition of human extremists and militant alien factions, who see bonded pairs as a threat to their vision of species separation. Commander Harris is working with them." "Harris is a traitor?" Jake asked. "Worse than that," Lisa said. "He's planning to use the fear of human-alien bonding to justify military action against alien colonies. He wants to start a war." Dr. Foster showed them data on her tablet. "We've intercepted communications between Harris and leaders of the extremist coalition. They plan to use your case as evidence that alien biology is contaminating humans. They'll claim that bonded humans are no longer truly human and pose a threat to our species. Jake felt sick. They're going to use us to justify genocide. That's their plan, Dan confirmed. But we have a different idea. Zara, who had been listening quietly, spoke up. What kind of idea? Kate smiled. We're going to expose the truth. All of it. The benefits of human-alien bonding, the extremist coalition, Harris's plans for war, everything. How? Tomorrow morning there's a colony-wide assembly to discuss the contamination threat, Lisa explained. Harris plans to present you two as examples of dangerous alien influence on humans. Instead, we're going to present the real facts. But they'll never let us speak at the assembly, Jake said. They won't have a choice, Dr. Foster said with a smile. Because by tomorrow morning your bonding will be complete, and everyone will be able to see the truth for themselves. Jake looked at Zara. Can we finish the bonding process tonight? Yes, but are you sure? Once we complete the bond, there will be no hiding what we are. Everyone will know. Maybe it's time to stop hiding. That night, under the alien stars, Jake and Zara completed their bonding. The process was intense and beautiful, involving not just physical intimacy but the complete sharing of their thoughts, memories, and souls. When it was finished, Jake felt like a new person. He could sense every living thing around them, could feel the rhythm of the planet's magnetic field, could understand languages he had never heard before. But more than that, he felt complete in a way he never had before. Zara glowed with silver, light, more beautiful than ever. Her eyes were now permanently violet, but they sparkled with joy and love. How do you feel? She asked. Like I can do anything, Jake replied. Like we can do anything. The next morning, they walked into the colony assembly together. The large meeting hall was packed with humans and aliens, all talking nervously about the contamination crisis. Commander Harris was at the front of the room with several military officials. When he saw Jake and Zara enter, his face went pale. Arrest them, he shouted. But before the guards could move, Dr. Foster stood up. Citizens of New Haven Colony, she announced, her voice carrying clearly through the room. Before you listen to Commander Harris's claims about contamination, I think you should see what human-alien bonding actually produces. Jake and Zara walked to the front of the room. Jake could sense the emotions of everyone present, could feel their fear and confusion, but also their curiosity and hope. My name is Jake Martinez, he said, his voice somehow reaching every person in the room, without shouting. This is Zara, my bonded partner. We're here to show you the truth about human-alien relationships. Jake demonstrated his enhanced abilities by quickly repairing a broken piece of equipment that had been bothering the colony for months. Zara used her improved skills to instantly translate a complex alien document that had puzzled human administrators. For weeks, these people are no longer fully human, Harris shouted. They've been contaminated by alien biology. Actually, Dan Rivers said, standing up with data tablets in his hands. They've evolved, and Commander Harris has been trying to prevent this evolution because he's working with extremist groups who want to start a war between humans and aliens. Kate Mills began broadcasting Harris's intercepted communications on the room's display screens. The evidence was overwhelming. Harris had been planning to use fear of human-alien bonding to justify military attacks on peaceful alien colonies. The assembly erupted in angry voices. Many of the colonists were outraged by Harris's betrayal, while others were afraid of what Jake and Zara represented. Please, Zara said, and somehow her voice calmed everyone. We understand that change is frightening, but we're not here to force anything on anyone. We're here to offer a choice. Jake nodded. Human-alien bonding isn't for everyone, but for those who choose it, it opens up possibilities we never imagined. We can explore new worlds, solve problems neither species could handle alone, and build a future based on cooperation instead of conflict. An older alien in the crowd stood up. What about children? What would happen to offspring of bonded pairs? Dr. Foster answered, Our research suggests that children of bonded pairs would have the best traits of both species, enhanced abilities, resistance to diseases that affect either parent species, and natural empathy for both human and alien cultures. They would be bridges between our peoples, Zara added. Over the next several hours, more bonded pairs came forward. Jake and Zara learned that they weren't alone. Several other human-alien couples had been hiding their relationships, afraid of government persecution. By the end of the day, the colony had voted to establish itself as an independent settlement, free from Earth Command and alien homeworld politics. They would welcome anyone, human or alien, who wanted to live peacefully with other species. Commander Harris and his supporters were arrested for treason and planning war crimes. 6 months. Later, Jake stood on the observation deck of a ship heading toward a newly discovered planet. The world was beautiful but dangerous, with an atmosphere that would kill unprotected humans or most aliens. But for bonded pairs like him and Zara, it would be paradise. "Are you ready?" Zara asked, taking his hand. Jake could sense her excitement and love through their bond. Around them, other bonded couples prepared for the landing. They were pioneers, heading toward a world where their unique abilities would allow them to build something new. "I'm ready," Jake said. As their ship entered the planet's atmosphere, Jake thought about how much his life had changed. A year ago, he had been a lonely engineer fixing broken machines. Now he was part of something larger than himself, bonded to someone who completed him in every way, heading toward an adventure that would have been impossible without their connection. Its year. Planet below was covered in silver forests and violet skies that reminded Jake of Zara's eyes. It was going to be their new home, a place where humans and aliens could work together to build a better future. "What should we call it?" Zara asked as they watched the alien landscape pass below them. Jake smiled. "How about Haven? A real haven, where everyone is welcome." Zara squeezed his hand, her silver skin warm against his. Through their bond, Jake felt her agreement and love. As their ship landed on the surface of their new world, Jake realized that his roommate had become so much, more than he ever could have imagined. She had become his partner, his other half, and the key to a future full of possibilities.